Your Holiness, Your Holiness, you may be seated. That was wonderful. Your Holiness, Professor, these are your students and your faculty and your colleagues of the Emory community. Students, faculty, colleagues, all members of the Emory community, your newest professor, His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Professor Chani,
having been installed as the professor, I don't know how to start my lecture.
Usually I describe president and professors and students and actually I usually prefer to call you as a dear brothers, sisters. I think that is very important. The professors or president or Dalai Lama, all this I feel secondary. Important is we are human beings. We are human brothers, sisters. So I prefer just to call you human brothers, sisters. And this function extremely, moving. From the president and those young students, when they spoke, it really, words come from your heart with genuine closeness feeling. Sometimes when they express tears in their eye, so I very much appreciate. And also this, professorship. A Buddhist monk, particularly from Tibet, no contact with the outside world in the past, and no training or no education about modern education. Now somehow got a professorship. In a really sort of well-known university. So I really feel great honor. And then those people, those representatives from different sort of groups connected with this university, when they sort of nice words about me, when you describe me something something special. Sometimes I feel there is a little bit exaggeration. But sometimes I myself feel I become more bigger. So these are illusions. Yeah. Usually I describe myself as a simple Buddhist monk, no more, no less. Even after getting this professorship, Still, I'm a simple Buddhist monk, no more, no less. I want to mention to you, I'm just human being, just like one of you, one of you. We are completely same. Physically, mentally, emotionally, we all same. And I believe certain amount of compassion which I have, that come from my mother. So everybody used to come from one's own mother. So same potential. And of course, circumstances sometimes little differences here and there. So that also makes some impact in our mind. But basically, we all same human being, same potential. We also have anger, jealousy, these things. Me too. Occasionally I lose my temper and use harsh words. So we are same. Now important is, in order to carry oneself, there is no point to neglect about our inner world, inner emotion. We have to take care about our inner emotion in order to be a happy person. And also some sort of useful citizen of the humanity or world. So I want, firstly, you see, please, my dear brothers, sisters, think more about our inner value. That's very important. While you are sort of developing or sort of progressing in daily basis, your education, your brain development, during that period, should not neglect about our deeper inner values. That is warm-heartedness. All the education you learned here, combined with warm-heartedness, sense of affection, other sense of responsibility, sense of community, then all your knowledge can be constructive. If all this knowledge combined with hatred or jealousy or extreme self-centered sort of attitude, then these education or knowledge can be destructive. So education alone is just like instrument. Whether that instrument used for constructive purpose or destructive depend on other factor. That's warm-heartedness. So that I want to express at the beginning. If you keep these inner warmth, your physical also healthier, you will find more and more genuine friends. As a result, your life becomes happier. And also finally, everybody have to go, our final destination. That is death. Whether we like it or not, we have to go that direction. So at the end of our life, if we lead our life something meaningful, something, beneficial, then at that moment you really feel happy, satisfied. If you use our life just for money, fame, power, and use various sort of methods, including bullying, exploitation, lie, all these, then at the end, you will recognize money which you work so hard, nothing use. Your fame, nothing helpful. Your power, nothing helpful. No use. So if someone who believes God, then God do not take much interest about money or power, these things. God takes more interest or more serious concern about our home-heartedness. It obviously, all major traditions or theistic religious tradition, the sort of immense emphasis, importance of love and compassion, forgiveness, these things. So that is the God's message. Then those non-theistic religious practitioner, we believe law of causality. So, if you carry some good deeds, that means, if possible, to serve other, help other. If not, at least restrain harming on other. That's the way to cultivate virtues. So that is as a positive causes. So that will bring positive result according to law of causality. So if anyone who spend whole life in a positive way, and you already accumulated very positive karma, so that is almost like guarantee of good life in next rebirth. Then those people who have no interest about religion, many people telling or showing because of concern about what to call legacy, right?
Their legacy.
Their legacy. A person who really lead our life compassionate way, and after your death, many people feel sad. Oh, we lost such a wonderful person. It's good. If someone who really creates a lot of trouble, a lot of suffering for others, and when after death, everybody joy, oh, very good. Now, it is a little bit too late. Much better to go earlier. Such sort of troublemaker. So if we really sort of concerned about our legacy, and legacy you cannot buy, you cannot make force, but day-to-day life, be honest way, truthful, compassionate way, sensible. As a professor of this university, I think I now forcefully telling it to you. Of course, whether you listen or not, up to you. That's no problem. And now my talk, my lecture. The concept of interdependency. That's something I think, unique about Buddhism, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist concept. I think better, a more serious sort of subject, so I think I speak in Tibetan and he translate. I do not want my translator to remain jobless. And also I think the concerned people, you see, pay his sort of air ticket from Canada up to here. So if he remains jobless, then waste all these monies.
They do.
Oh yeah, okay. Tension develop joa sedadi. Again, rimba thangu di junje tendi sigare. Junje tendi lusane ko judi ngya lo to debu di jelion ya ko ngachi draw ye de bisure.
I shall be speaking primarily on the Buddhist concept of dependent origination or interdependence. And one of the fundamental principles which is in Buddhism is this notion of interdependence or dependent origination. And at the fundamental level, this concept is understood to explain the relationship between causes and conditions. So when we speak of dependent origination in terms of causes and conditions, we are talking about events that have precedence and consequence. So in this sense, there is a relationship from the effect to the cause, where cause is prior to the origination of the effect.
Debu sange kharijime inaya tul to dengech. So that digi na to lalen khar kaso ta khar shawar islam na jeyong manchen se that maumol consequences condition of my own. That the other do suck with Nicolia, Tona Cheva, Casualisha. Could do Sarah Jailer? And in Derman do get a share Yamari. Could do simply. So the name is any do you Nicola, not to Yisel Cheni. Kanda Mangocha, this Casualisha.
One of the important ethical implications of recognizing the fundamental fact of the law of causality is that whatever effect it may be, whether it is a desirable one or undesirable one, each of them have their own corresponding causes and conditions. So what this suggests for us is that if we are truly serious about preventing potential undesirable consequences and painful consequences, then we need to look seriously into finding a way we can prevent the causes and conditions that will lead to that event that we do not desire. And this is very important because if once the effect has already come into being, then there isn't really much one can do because the event has already taken place. However, if we appreciate truly the law of causality, then we will take much more seriously to try to affect the causal processes before the event takes place.
There would since to any Mindubichi, Nezujimbayina, some of you Yunguri, Dunga Yunguri, and the Omegatolia, Cadicus Yanani, Telemega, Chachigu, Cadicus Yanani, Cadicus Manani, Telemega Chachifan, soon that day. That's also some stand they do what she's asking about.
So once the event has already taken place, and if it happens to be a tragic event, something that is undesirable for you as an individual, then in that respect, the only way in which we can respond to that event is more in the form of an acceptance, because the event has already occurred. There is nothing that can be done. So in responding to that kind of situation, there is an advice given by a famous 8th century Indian Buddhist master who said that when responding to a problem, if there is a solution to the problem, then there is no need to be overwhelmed and worry about it. And if, on the other hand, if there is no solution, there is in fact no point in being overwhelmed and worrying about it.
Da Denjung Riba Nibachik, 때는 주바 살 시기야 돼. 때는 주바 써야 돼. 응시 저 배식해서 말해. 나고 편주 때니 혼대야. 직승구야 돼. 다한테 제부 줄 때네 죽고야 돼. 다 십사로 답이나 제부 줄이야 뛰고야 돼. 이나야 두 세네 규정시 차야 돼. 근데 차버렸나? 랑니 깨지기 줄을 떠나 두더니 제부이 말이. 자, 근데 인도산에 두 세아코라 지금 떠네 시작주마도 민두가. 자, 근데 인도산에 랑니 줄 조알라 제부텔 떠고야 해. 이는 제부터 주야 말이. 제부텔 때네 좀 제부텔 때네 깨버다 말이지. 이내 코라 제부텔 떠들지 말이.
So now, from a philosophical point of view, we can deepen this understanding of dependent concept of dependent origination and move beyond the level of causal dependence, causes and effect relation. So when we do that, we can take the relationship nature at the point where we understand mutuality of relationships. Now, let's take the example of cause and effect. From a naive, everyday experience point of view, we see a temporal sequence between cause and effect. Cause comes into being first, then it gives rise to the effect, and effect comes afterwards. So on that naive, everyday level of experience, we recognize that the effect depends upon the cause, but we don't acknowledge the cause to be dependent upon the effect because the cause is prior to the effect in terms of temporal sequence. However, if we then push the concept further, we will in fact recognize that even cause itself depends upon the effect. Because first of all, an event that we identify as a cause is an event that is itself caused by some other event before. So from that point of view, there is that relative aspect. Furthermore, for any event to be considered as a cause, that concept of causation, something as a cause, can only be understood in relationship to an event that would be its effect. So in terms of temporal sequence, although the cause comes first and effect afterwards, but in terms of our concepts, they are mutually defined. Cause is defined in relation to an effect is defined in relation to a cause. So therefore, they are mutually dependent.
For example, time, past, present, future. If we investigate what is present, of course, conventionally, we can say present century, present millennium, present century, present decade, present of year, present month, day, or week, day, hour, minute, second. But if we investigate a very short moment on second level, if we analyze the half second past, half second future, so we cannot find the present. Again, without the present, we cannot describe
What is
past and future. So there must be present. But if we investigate, we cannot find present. So as a result, no time. And time exists. We are
in time?
in the time. Time always moving. But if we investigate, we cannot find. So these are
So what this fact really suggests is the mutuality of dependent relation among various concepts that we use.
다 편주 때에 중요하디 시서 가르쳤을라나? 저 rāng ngōji shiān la tēwa mēbē kōne dhūbde yuwa yīna niko tēwa kāyabī duwa.
So now we can again push this line of inquiry further and ask, why is it that when we search for some essence of anything, that what we find is only a network of relationships, but nothing beyond that? Now, what this suggests is because all things and phenomena and events, each of them do not possess any objective, independent reality of their own. Because if they do possess such self-defining characteristics and objective independent existence, then when we seek for their essences, they should be findable. But that is not the case.
자, 드리 인도 부디즘 다 따와 직다 가서 그게 띵섭슈드 샤인도 자네 낭시 시베 쳔드 상월로 때네 딱 삼시레마도 그 편중원이 두지 야마레스.
So by following this line of inquiry, the most profound school of Buddhist philosophical thinking, insofar as their understanding of the nature of reality is concerned, Buddhism maintains that whatever phenomena that we may cite as an example, an event or a phenomena or an object, when we speak about their existence and their reality, we can only speak about their existence and reality within the context of all these dependent relations and within the context of our shared convention.
So this concept, I feel something useful. Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, the dependency, in the sense, effect depend on cause. That give us the sort of realization, importance of on the
the importance of whatever intervention that we may want to introduce needs to be introduced at the causal stage.
And also, something happened today. Now, for example, unhealthy sort of situation or healthy things today we are facing. If we think, these things due to our past mistake or past negligence. Past means not yesterday, but decades ago, centuries ago, like that. So then realize that because all the causes of conditions, fully come together, then this result now inevitable. So that helpful to reduce our feeling, anger, all these negative things. These negative things happen not by itself, but due to past causes conditions. In the causes conditions, your own contribution also involved. That one helpful. Then also the other level of interdependency. That also is very helpful. There is no absolute positive and negative. One very serious sort of issue or problem, compare some other problem, more even serious problem, then that problem not that much serious. So one problem, you can see different picture if you look from different angle. So that helpful, your sort of your sort of mental sort of the negative or reaction. Emotions. something happened, if you look that event, something absolute, then more that feeling, more grasping about that. As a result, too much sort of irritation in our mind, too much frustrations. The same event, look from different angle, and also due to its own causes and conditions, that widened our attitude. Right. Result, the emotional sort of, or say the irritation will reduce. Event, some negative event, one event, if you look very closely, only that appears something absolute. Much more frustrations. Same event, look from wider perspective, then that event may not be so significant. And also understand that also relative. So that very, very helpful to reduce our mental anxious or anxiety. And then, for example, our health. If you have the concept of this wider perspective or interrelated, interconnectedness, then you not only care taking medicine, but food, and also your own daily behavior, and particularly take care of our emotions. So then more holistic sort of approach comes. Then the welfare of human being or individual nations sort of well-being. We are part of the world. America, very powerful nation, but part of the world. American future, American prosperity, much depend on other part of the world. So then, eventually, you will develop some kind of attitude. Whole world is our. I think that's very important. Violent method or war. I think since in human history, war is part of our life. Human history. But the concept of war comes on the recognition, clear-cut, we and they. And our interest, their interest, different. So destruction of your so-called enemy is your victory. But if you look from wider perspective, that's no longer the reality. Your neighbor is part of yourself. So destruction of your neighbor is destruction of yourself. So these concepts helpful to develop sense of community, sense of global community. And individual case, also no matter how you are sort of successful, your future entirely depends on the rest of your community. So, because your own interest, you have to take care of others' well-being. So, the holistic view, very helpful in the field of health care and social care and international level or national level, international level. And from this viewpoint, certainly you can see the negative harmfulness about the gap rich and poor. If rich and poor's interest is completely separate, then in practical level, you don't need any sense of care of the poorer section of the people. But the reality, they are very important part of your community, your society. A global level, the
Sadhana.
or sadhana, poor, northerner, rich. Actually, both are on this same planet. So, judging from the holistic viewpoint, then this gap not only morally wrong, but practically also is a source of problem. And then environment issue. Sometimes, you see, we feel, we human beings, with the help of technology and science, we can overcome these things.
These problems.
But then ultimately, we are part of the nature. If nature or a pattern dramatically change, and we will diminish.
Perish.
So anyway, we human beings, among the thousands different species of mammal, I think we are the, in a way, really troublemaker. So from that viewpoint, it is better to eliminate or diminish all entire human being. Then the world become more safer. And certainly, I think the thousands of different species of mammal on this planet, I think then
We'll be safe.
we will save.
We'll be safe.
We'll save. We too much exploitation on other lives. However, one sort of the justification, it is worthwhile human existence, is we have the capacity to develop infinite altruism or infinite compassion. And also we have the ability not only care by ourselves, but also caring other species of mammals and the world itself, in some extent. So therefore, it is better to survive. Right?
For humanity to exist.
Humanity exists is, I think, better. So for that reasons, you see, we have to take serious concern about environment issue. So all these, if you have concept interdependency, then these things easily understand. So sometimes I is telling my friend, some Muslim friend also, or some others of religious or believer, this concept come from Buddhism. But this, you see, theory or this view, concept, is really applicable in every our life, every fields. So that's about lecture on interdependency. So, once more, I want to thank the President, President, and all those, now my colleagues, I think, and also the students. I really appreciate. I really feel great honor. Thank you.
We will assess from here. We'll just go out the back. Can I hold you here for just a moment? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Emory community, or as His Holiness has told us to say, brothers and sisters, this concludes our installation. I thank you for your participation and for your warm reception of our newest professor, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.